Welcome to the Stoic Quotient. Today we will look into the truth about sex, breaking free from centuries of fear and shame. Why does the mere mention of sex make people shift in their seats, lower their voices, or look away? Why does something so natural, so fundamental to existence, carry so much shame? We can talk about war without hesitation. We can glorify violence in movies and media. We can discuss greed, power, and deception without flinching. But sex makes people uncomfortable. For centuries we have been taught to see it as sinful, dirty, forbidden. We have been conditioned to suppress, to hide, to deny. And in that repression, something essential, something deeply human has been twisted and corrupted, and now we are afraid of our own nature. But why? Who taught us to fear what created us? From the moment we enter the world, we are surrounded by rules, spoken and unspoken, about how we should feel about our own bodies. Religious texts call sex a temptation, something to be controlled, shunned, or used only for reproduction. Society brands desire as shameful, something to be hidden behind closed doors, whispered about in secrecy. Families refuse to speak about it, leaving children to navigate their own biology in confusion and fear. And so, generation after generation, we pass down guilt like an heirloom. But here's the truth no one tells you: sex is not the problem. The problem is what we have been taught to believe about it. Look around you. Every tree, every animal, every human being exists because of the same force, sexual energy. Sex is not just an act, it is a raw, undeniable life force. It is the energy that drives creation, the fire that fuels passion, the force that brings two people into such deep connection that new life can emerge. And yet, we've turned it into something to be ashamed of. The great Stoic philosophers understood something that society has long ignored. Energy itself is neither good nor bad. It is how we use it that defines its nature. Sex is like fire. Fire can burn down a house, or it can warm a home. Fire can destroy, or it can create light in the darkness. It all depends on how we use it. The repression of sexual energy does not eliminate it. It only forces it into the shadows, where it festers, warps, and turns into something dark. What happens when something natural is buried under guilt and shame? It becomes something unnatural. Desire, when denied, turns into obsession. Love, when shamed, turns into lust without meaning. Connection, when feared, turns into power, control, and manipulation. Look at the world around you. Look at how sexual energy has been exploited and commercialized, turned into a product, a tool of manipulation, an industry designed to sell fantasies while disconnecting people from their true emotions. This is what happens when something sacred is distorted by shame. But it doesn't have to be this way, because the very energy that can destroy can also elevate. Sex, when approached with awareness, can be transformational. It is not just a physical act, it is an exchange of energy. It is a way to break down the walls between two souls, to dissolve the ego, to experience a depth of presence and connection that transcends the physical. This is why how we engage with sex matters. If it is approached mindlessly, as nothing more than an urge to satisfy, without care, without meaning, it will never lead to fulfillment. But if it is approached with respect, awareness, and presence, it becomes something far greater than pleasure. It becomes a path to awakening. The Stoics believed in discipline, in understanding our desires rather than being ruled by them. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And isn't that the truth of our fear around sex? The suffering is not in the act itself. It is in the guilt, the repression, the shame we attach to it. So, the question is not whether sex is good or bad. The question is, what will you do with this energy? Will you continue to see it as something forbidden, something to be hidden and feared? Will you allow yourself to be controlled by guilt, by outdated beliefs that were never your own? Will you let society define what is pure and what is sinful for you? Or will you reclaim your own understanding? Will you embrace this life force as something powerful, something sacred, something that can be used consciously, not as a tool for indulgence or control, but as a path to deeper connection and self-awareness? Sex is not a sin, repression is. Because repression keeps us blind to ourselves, blind to our nature, blind to the truth that what we fear most is often what can set us free. It's time to break the silence. It's time to let go of the shame that was never yours to carry. It's time to stop treating sex as something dirty and start seeing it for what it truly is, a force of life, a choice, a path to either destruction or awakening. And the path you take, that is entirely up to you. If you like this insight, please give us a thumbs up, share with others and subscribe. Thanks for watching The Stoic Quotient.